Hey, this is Dylan at GameCollision.com, here to bring you the Lost Planet video review for the PlayStation 3. Lost Planet was originally a 360 exclusive that Capcom decided to port over to the PS3. Unfortunately, this port does not fare well at all. The visuals are extremely lacking and the audio isn't much better. The story is confusing and you most likely find yourself not caring anyways. The gameplay is a huge mess of boredom and lacks any form of entertainment. One positive is that the load times are short, but you're going to have to wait 20 minutes for a required 5 GB cache to install on your hard drive. First off, the visuals in this game look awful, with stuck-up animations and plain textures around every corner. A lot of the effects look simply laughable, with the fire looking reminiscent of GoldenEye for the N64. The snow is everywhere, and it just gives the game a bleak tone your eyes will find unappealing. Beyond that, there are so many jaggies in Lost Planet, you'll wonder if they took some effects from a PS1 title. An example of this is the muzzle flash effect when firing your gun. Even the main character looks extremely jagged most of the time. You'll find a nice variety of enemies, some human and some not, but they all look extremely generic with a bug like Acrid seemingly straight out of Starship Troopers. If you thought things couldn't get worse, they can. The frame rate is completely unacceptable, it never runs smooth even when nothing is going on, and when the activity on screen picks up, it drops considerably. It's not unbearably bad, but it just isn't acceptable for current standards. The environments range from snow to lava to indoor infrastructures, but eventually they all start to look the same. Among all this, minor graphical glitches occur with objects floating in characters' hands in cutscenes. I know it seems like I'm nitpicking, but it happens a lot and seems like something the developer should have noticed. The audio in Lost Planet fares somewhat better than the visuals, with some decent sound effects here and there. Guns and explosions in particular sound pretty good, however the good stops there. The voice acting is mediocre at best with some ridiculous dialogue thrown in.
Wayne, it looks like it's all riding on your shoulders now. Don't.
You must stop the Frontier Project at all costs. Wayne, continue the fight.
The music is very annoying, and while you can turn it down, the menus are clunky and hard to navigate. Another problem with the audio is the volume. For some reason, the cutscenes are extremely quiet, forcing you to turn the volume up considerably, only for the gameplay to get very loud again. You might be listening to this and wondering, man, is there anything good about Lost Planet? Well, it certainly isn't the story. It's confusing, overdramatic, and overly complicated.
Hey! You better be listening to this!
You play as Wayne, and that's all there is to it.
What's your name?
Wayne.
You never feel attached to the main character, or any of the characters for that matter. You'll constantly be asking yourself, what the hell am I doing, and do I even care? Every mission is broken up awkwardly, and at the start, you'll always wonder how you got wherever you are. Nothing flows as well as most action titles today. In the end, it all leads up to a confusing and ultimately unsatisfying finale. It makes little sense and no reward comes from all your hard work. The gameplay. This is supposed to be a futuristic shooter, yet the developers can only come up with names like machine gun and shotgun for the weapons. You have a limited amount of tools at your disposal, and unfortunately only a few are satisfying to wield. The game's controls feel extremely sluggish at first. You can turn up the sensitivity and it becomes easier to turn, but it becomes harder to aim precisely. There's never a balance there. Of course, the aiming probably won't become a problem as the enemies are completely brain dead. Rarely do they recognize where your bullets are coming from, let alone attack you. If they manage to squeeze some shots off at you, they will be in a completely random direction. It eventually feels like target practice. That is until you encounter a boss battle. These bosses are insanely cheap, and beating them usually boils down to luck. It feels unfair, and giving up often seems like the best option. The positive aspect about these bosses is they can feel epic in size, which is cool until you realize you're extremely bored and frustrated. The sense of direction in Lost Planet is not very good, and the radar does not help. This might not seem like a big deal until you realize your health is constantly draining. It's an outdated mechanic that makes little sense when your health is supposedly decreasing because the planet is too cold and you're in a lava pit. One good mechanic is the grappling hook. If you see a ledge that's normally unreachable, you can aim up, press square, and a hook will send you flying. Hopefully an invisible wall doesn't ruin your fun. Surprisingly, using the grappling hook was the best time I had with Lost Planet. That's not a good thing. Another big part of Lost Planet are the VS mechs. These big robots are scattered throughout the levels waiting for you to pilot them. Unfortunately, these big guys are slow and clunky to control. They hardly add to the experience. Capcom put the coins from the 360 version in there, and on the 360 shooting these unlocked achievements, but since the PS3 has no achievement system, you're rewarded with nothing but disappointment. There's also an online component, but it's very bare bones with only a few character skins and game modes. With Call of Duty 4, Unreal Tournament 3, and Warhawk already out there, why bother? All in all, this is one very poorly put together piece of software. It's only about 6 to 8 hours long, yet it feels like 100 hours of torture. I must advise you not to spend your money on this game. If you have to play it, do it for the grappling. To be honest though, this game isn't even worth a rental fee. Lost Planet is not worthy to be in any PS3 owner's library.
I grew tired of this game.
Yeah, me too. I give Lost Planet a 4.9 out of 10. Check out GameCollision.com for the full written review.